celebration event.
We take the anthem while we remain standing. Thank you.
Beautiful and glorious and you're the heart. The ancient city is calling. Oh, arise, sons and daughters of the land. The king of the city is marching. Stand up high to the pride of the land. The founding fathers have labored, and our time to serve is now. The glory of the new Edo nation will forever be our pride. Beautiful and glorious and you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful and glorious and stars are singing over you. You're the land people dream to be. Our treasures are found in all nations, and our greatness is second to none. Our history forever shall be written, how our kings have endured all times. Our people cultured in unity, our hearts beat for the land. Rich culture, stories of heroes, legacies forever be. Beautiful and glorious and you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful and glorious and stars are singing over you. You're the land people dream to be. Unite and stand with each other. Forgive and let it go. Together we can stand, come what may, and our future lies in us. Teach our children to teach their children what our fathers taught. To fear and love the Creator, only then shall we succeed. Beautiful and glorious and you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful and glorious and stars are singing over you. You're the land people dream to be.
Thank you very much. Let's put your hands together as you take your seats. And once again, we warmly welcome each and every one of you to this all-important occasion of the Election, Peace and Security Summit, courtesy Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room. I want to thank everyone from the political class, from the religious class, from the traditional institution, from the security sector, from the business sector. I want to welcome each and every one of you. Joyce?
Thank you. We have some very distinguished guests in our presence this morning, and we are going to recognize their presence and, of course, thank them for making it. So I'll start off with Dr. Adamu M.A., who is representing the NDLEA. Please give him a round of applause, please. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. We have M.A. Bassi representing the DSS. Please clap for them as well as we call their names. We also have Ben Akune from the FRSC. That's not all. We have DCC Etinagbedia Alfred, who is the HOD, OPS, NSCDC Edo Command. A round of applause, please, as we are recognizing these are distinguished guests. DSF Awudu Abdullahi Aifa, who is the State Comptroller, Federal Fire Service. A round of applause for him as well. He's on that distinguished chair. table. I also have here with us MC Monye, who is the Comptroller, National Immigration Service. Round of applause for him as well. We're also lucky enough to have the person of Reverend Phil Aroje, who is representing the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria. Please round of applause for him. Thank you so much, sir, for being here today. Please
Thank you very much. We'd like to acknowledge the presence of the Chairman, National Peace Committee, ably represented by Reverend Father Atta Bakindo, Executive Director, the Kuka Center, Head of Secretariat of the National Peace Committee. Please give him a round of applause. Give him a round of applause. We also like to acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Commissioner of Police, Edo State Commander, ably represented by ACP James Chu. Please put your hands together for him. We celebrate your presence. We welcome you. We'd like to acknowledge the presence of distinguished Senator Adams Aliyu Shomole, ably represented by a former Chief Whip of the House of Representatives, our very own Right Honorable Samson Osage. Please put your hands together for him. We'd like to also acknowledge the presence of the Director of DSS, who is represented here. We'd like to acknowledge the presence of the State Commissioner, ICPC, Edo State, Mrs. Premo Akwaye. Thank you for your presence as well. Please put your hands together for all of these distinguished personalities we have in our midst. I'd like to also recognize our frontline civil society activist in Nigeria, the Executive Director, African Network for Environment and Economic Justice, the very Reverend David Ogolo. Please put your hands together for him. We'd like to appreciate the Edo State Chairman, Police Community Relations Committee, Reverend Dr. Isaac O. Isego Sime. Please put your hands together for him. We'd like to also quickly acknowledge the presence of the APC Chairman, Edo State, Honorable Jarrett Tenebe. Put your hands together for him. We'd like to recognize the presence of our former Deputy Speaker, Edo State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Paul Ohobamo. Put your hands together for him. We also want to quickly acknowledge the presence of Prince Irumze Afe, who is representing the Otaru of Auchi, is the Bagodo of Auchi. Please put your hands together for him. We thank you for your presence. Permit me to acknowledge the presence of High Chief Christopher, PhD, the Inahe of Irua Kingdom. Is representing His Royal Highness Alhaji W.O. Momodu II, JP, CON, the Ogirua of Irua Kingdom, the Okaijesa of Isaland. Please put your hands together for him as well. We thank you. Please, you just have to appreciate the fact that this recognition and introduction is not concluded yet. It's an ongoing exercise. As we make progress in the course of this event, we'll acknowledge as many other people as possible. But at this juncture, we'll be going straight to take the opening remarks. We'll be taking the opening remarks, and I'll be calling on the person that will be doing the opening remarks in just a short while. We'll have more.
All right, so for our opening remarks this morning, we're calling on the person of YZ Yao, who is the convener, Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room, who is now represented by Dr. Jude Obasomi, the SS rep on the steering committee of the Situation Room. If he's here, please,
okay,
welcoming us.
I think there's a slight adjustment there.
Okay.
A slight adjustment there. We need to quickly correct that. Do we have Professor Yu Igbado, the chairperson, Edo State Peace and Mediation Working Committee in the House, or the representative? Please put your hands together as the representative comes forward. Keep clapping until she gets here. Keep clapping, please.
Good morning, everyone. Sonny Duke murdered my name. My name is Professor Mrs. Ujiro Igbudu. I'm the chairperson of the Edo State Peace Mediation Working Committee. SPMWC, under the auspices of Kimpact Development Initiative with support from United Kingdom Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, FEDO. Distinguished guests, our highly respected royal fathers, our religious leader, representatives of security agencies, political leaders, community elders, esteemed colleagues, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great honor and a profound sense of duty that I welcome you all to this crucial meeting. As we stand on the threshold of a significant event in our state's history, the upcoming Edo election on the 21st of September 2024, we recognize the weight of our responsibility in ensuring that this process is conducted peacefully, fairly, and without disruption. Elections are a cornerstone of our democracy. They represent the voice of the people and the pathway through which would shape our collective future. However, elections to truly reflect the will of the people, they must be conducted in an atmosphere of peace and mutual respect. This is why we are here today. The Edo State Peace Mediation Working Committee was established with the vision of fostering dialogue and ensuring that peace prevails in every corner of our state. In this crucial period, our mandate becomes even more significant. We are tasked with ensuring that the upcoming election is not manned by violence, intimidation, or any form of disruption that could undermine the democratic process. As chairperson of this committee, I want to emphasize that peaceful elections are not solely the responsibility of the government or security agencies. It is a collective effort that requires the commitment of political leaders, candidates, community heads, civil society organizations, the media, and indeed every citizen of Edo State. We must all pledge to conduct ourselves with the highest sense of decorum, ensuring that the election is an opportunity for progress rather than conflict. To our political leaders and candidates, I urge you to lead by examples, encouraging your supporters to embrace peace and reject violence. The success of our democracy depends not only on winning elections, but on maintaining the trust and confidence of the people through fair and peaceful practices. To the security agencies, I commend your effort thus far and encourage you to continue working with professionalism, impartiality, and commitment to safeguarding the electoral process. To our community leaders, traditional rulers, and all stakeholders, I call on you to use your influence to promote peace and dialogue, ensuring that potential flashpoints are identified early and addressed before they escalate. Today, as we gather here, let us renew our commitment to the principle of democracy, peace, and unity. The Edo State election on the 21st September 2024 must be a reflection of our shared value. An election where voice is heard, where vote counts, and every outcome is respected. Once again, I welcome you all and I look forward to a fruitful deliberation as we work together to ensure a peaceful election for the future of Edo State. Thank you, and may God bless Edo State.
Let's put our hands together for her. I appreciate her for setting the template for this discourse, this conversation that I know for sure will impact every one of us. And from wherever you're watching across the world, thank you so much for creating the time to be part of this auspicious occasion. We just need to put some things, put some records straight for the benefit of everyone here and even the viewing public.
Yeah.
This event is proudly put together by Kimpact Development Initiative in collaboration with the Nigerian Police, Edo State Command, the Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room, with the support from Foreign and Commonwealth Development. Please put your hands together for all of these partners that have come together to put this together. We also just want to leverage on that and appreciate and recognize the Executive Director, Kimpact Development Initiative, KDI, the one and only Mr. Bukola Ido. Let's put our hands together for him. Put our hands together for him. Even as he steps forward now to give the welcome address. Keep clapping until he gets here. Keep clapping.
Thank you. Your Excellencies, dear traditional rulers represented, the religious leaders, diplomatic communities, their security agencies, ladies and gentlemen, people of Edo State, watching us all over the world, and also the people watching us here from Nigeria. I want to thank you so much for making this meeting. On behalf of Kimpact Development Initiative, Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room, we thank you so much for coming. Now, this meeting is being put together just for one purpose, and that purpose is the election coming on the September 21st. Now, why are we doing this? We are doing this because that election is crucial to this state, basically for the citizen of this state. As we all know, election is a civic affair. It is not a military or a war situation. It's a process by which citizens come together every 4 years in Nigeria and to choose who is going to elect them for the next 4 years. And as that is, the reason is that people need to go out, cast their votes, and cast that peacefully. If you check your files, you will see some of the incidents that have been recorded in the state. And that is the need for us to have this conversation, to come together and make a commitment and see how we're going to have a peaceful election come September 21st. And I'm very happy with the commitment and the kind of representation I am seeing here. We've been working with the Commissioner of Police, with the police of the police Edo State, Nigerian Police Edo State Command, with ICPC, with all the security agencies. The most important thing is peaceful election. Like we used to say, most times when election comes, when election goes, that is a process that will come and that will go. But the most important thing is that the state will remain the same. And we need to put everything in place to make sure that we have peaceful election. This meeting is not about us, it's about we, the people of Edo State, having discussion within ourselves. I listened to the lyrics of Edo Anthem, and there is a place in that particular lyric that says we have to let go, we have to forgive. And the most important thing is that we have to let go, we have to forgive, because we are all citizens of Edo State. And we have a responsibility to develop this state. Whichever party that is going to come into power, the most important thing is the development of the state. I thank you so much for coming, and I hope we have a fruitful conversation. This meeting is just the beginning of series of events that we are going, that is happening in this state. I'm very sure by tomorrow another meeting is taking place, and then everything culminating into a peace accord that will be signed on the 12th. I am also happy that we have here in our midst the National Peace Committee, they represented by the Executive Director of Kuka Center, Father Atabakindo, who is representing General Absalam Abubakar and the entire Peace Committee here. And I'm happy they are already in town. And as you all know, and many of us will have gotten the invitation, the peace accord will be taking place on the 12th. But this is the beginning. Let's keep having this conversation. Is everyone, and I'm very sure as we move into the agenda, we all have opportunity to talk and to make our contributions. Thank you so much. And before I leave, I also want to thank the Foreign Commonwealth Development Office. Thank you so much for supporting this. I'm happy that we have represented here Mr. Wale Adebajo, Senior Political Officer, British High Commission, is also here. Thank you so much for making it down all the way from Lagos to be here. And I'm saying this, that the commitment we are making today, like we are live and all the world is looking at us, is good. This is going to be an example to other off-circuit states. And then we hope, by the special grace of God, come 21st, election will come, we will have election peacefully. There won't be any incident, and then the whole state will be happy for it. Thank you so much for listening.
Can we give the Executive Director of KDI a round of applause? Thank you very much. Permit me to quickly make some few introductions. The APC Edo State governorship candidate, Senator Monday Okpebolo, is ably represented by Right Honorable Paul Ohombamu. That means he's here in dual capacity. Let's give him a round of applause one more time. Thank you. I also want to quickly acknowledge the Archbishop of the Benin City Metropolitan See, Most Reverend Dr. Augustine Obiora Akubeze, ably represented by Reverend Father Benedict Onwegbuni. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you for your presence. We'd like to acknowledge the Director of Ecumenism and Interfaith, CAN Edo State Chapter, Sir Humphrey Best Iriabe. Put your hands together for him. KSM JP, thank you for your presence, sir. We'd like to recognize the Chairman, Christian Kumtat of Nigeria, Edo State Chapter, Reverend Osahon Igbinudu is in our midst. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So we'll move straight to the next item, and Joyce will take this away.
Thank you and good morning. If you have just joined us from anywhere you're watching this morning, a few items have already been ticked off the agenda for today. We've had the national anthem. We've had our opening remarks by our able professor. Thank you so much, ma'am. We also had our summit objectives by Bukola Idowu, who's the ED of KDI. And at this moment, we're going to have our welcome address taken by the Commissioner of Police, who is ably represented by ACP James Chu. Please give me a round of applause as he comes up to the podium. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are beyond glad to have you. Please keep clapping as he comes. Please keep the applause rolling. Keep the applause rolling. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Good morning, sir. Very happy to have you.
I must beg to stand on the existing protocol. My name is ACP James, Assistant Commissioner of Police Operations, Edo State Police Command. I am standing for the Commissioner of Police Edo State, who is unavoidably absent. We're all aware of this crucial period where we have a lot of exigencies preparatory to the forthcoming elections. We have a lot of heavyweights here, and men who have come here, persons and people who have gathered here today. The essence of all of this is just to ensure that we discuss a peaceful process towards the forthcoming elections. I also extend my presence here and my warmth to other law enforcement agencies who are seated there. And the police as a lead agency, we are ensuring that the process, no matter how crucial and critical it's going to look like, we fall on very beautiful lines and we show a peaceful conclusion of whatever is going to come by 21st of this month. We are happy to ensure that security is going to be in place. That is not what I'm going to speak on extensively here. But with the preparations in place towards the 21st of this month, we are sure that we are going to manage the atmosphere. We are going to ensure that the basics are in place. We also ensure that observers, persons, bodies, organizations who are going to come into Edo State for the exercise of 21st will have better information and better news to convey to the outside world. Once more, I must appreciate this gathering for finding time in a very tight schedule to gather here today to talk and extensively discuss on these very critical issues before us. Once again, thank you very much on behalf of the Commissioner of Police. I appreciate and I welcome all of you. And we are going to assure once more that the elections that is coming, all stakeholders will be carried along. It's going to be a level playing ground for all to exercise their legitimacy, and it's going to end well. Thank you very much.
Can we give ACP James Chiu another round of applause representing the Honorable Commissioner of Police, Edo State? When you look around the caliber of people that are here, the quality of personalities that are here, and from the different sectors that have come here, you recognize the fact that the issue of peace and security is a collective responsibility. At our individual level, we have a role to play to engender peace and for there to be security in our communities, in our state, and of course the country. Against that background, I'd like you to please put your hands together for yourselves for making it here this morning. Put your hands together for yourselves. Let me also quickly recognize the planning committee at the state level for this event, led by the chairperson, Professor Mrs. Igbudu. Put your hands together for her. Put your hands together for her. We also have His Royal Highness Idahosa Agbedigi, the Enuge of Utese. Put your hands together for him. Reverend Ogako Simeon Alhaji Abdulaziz Nosahai Igbenidu, Edo State Council of Islamic Affairs. Put your hands together for him as well. We'd like to recognize the Secretary of the State Committee, talking about Comrade Solomon Ijogbe. Put your hands together for him. And the State Lead, Kimpact, the one and only Peter Agwebo. Can we put our hands together for him as well? At this juncture, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, will take the goodwill message for this occasion. Join me, make welcome upstage, Senior Political Officer, British High Commission, the one and only Adewale Adebajo. Keep clapping until he gets here. Keep clapping until he gets here.
Good morning, everyone. I will also stand on the existing protocol. My name is Wale Adebajo. I'm the Senior Political Advisor at the British Deputy High Commission based in Lagos. First of all, I would like to acknowledge the organizer for actually inviting us to this event and giving us an opportunity to actually speak today. I'm encouraged by the broad range of stakeholders in the room. I've seen the police, I've seen members of political parties here, civil society, royal fathers, very, very key people for when it comes to election process in Nigeria and specific to Edo States. So fundamentally, elections are about the rights and ability of citizens to choose their leaders without fear of intimidation or abuse or any form of undue influence. And this is not possible without a peaceful and conducive environment. So the emphasis here is about having an actually peaceful election. Everyone should be given the opportunity to vote. That's everyone's right. And I think it's the job of all those who are actually involved in the electoral process to ensure that every single citizen in Edo State are actually given that right to actually vote without any intimidation. And I think that's why this summit is very, very important and very, very timely. The UK is glad to support this initiative led by our Nigerian partners, and also to inform you that we will be observing this election as international observers. So we hope that this conversation in the course of the day will lead to very useful commitment by partners and everyone here, and to lead to a peaceful election day. Once again, very, very important. I really want to emphasize on how important to have a free, fair, and credible election. Many thanks again for this invitation, and wish you all the best in the program. Thank you.
Let's give him a round of applause one more time. Thank you very much. Permit me to quickly acknowledge the presence of the Chief Imam of Edo State, Alhaji Abdul Fattah Nabulele. Put your hands together for him. Thank you, sir, for your presence. At this juncture, we will be taking the keynote address by General Abdul Salami Abubakar, who is the Chairman, National Peace Committee. But he is here represented by the Executive Director, the Kuka Center, Head of Secretariat of the National Peace Committee, Reverend Father Atta Bakindo. Please put your hands together for him and keep clapping until he gets here.
Good morning, everyone. Some of you may wonder what a Catholic priest is doing here on elections. Maybe I should be in the church doing my rosary. But I'm standing here on behalf of the chairman of the National Peace Committee, His Excellency General Abdul Salami A. Abubakar, the former head of state GCFR, and all the members of the National Peace Committee. And the protocol has been well established, and I want to go straight to the mind of the general and the members of the committee whom I represent, so that I do not waste your time and we can go straight into the discussions. So it is with honor and a great sense of privilege that I stand here to deliver this keynote address on behalf of the members of the National Peace Committee, chaired by His Excellency General Abdul Salami A. Abubakar, retired. Our gathering today demonstrates a visible commitment and a shared sense of identity for our very existence as citizens of Nigeria. The need for us to embrace peace within ourselves and our society. Today is also symbolic. It is symbolic because this is the first time in the history of this country that we are having a security summit ahead of an election. So I think we are most grateful to those who came up with the idea and actually put this together. We are gathered here to remind ourselves that peace is not just a destination. Rather, it is a process. It is a constant search and a journey towards a better future. So despite the challenges that we constantly face in our country, we have decided to come together to pursue a common goal of ensuring a secure and peaceful 2024 off-cycle elections here in Edo State. As you are aware, peace is not just the absence of conflict or violence. Peace is also the presence of justice, the presence of harmony, and mutual respect among individuals and communities. Security ensures that every citizen in this country does not only feel safe, but we are safe. It means that citizens are empowered to express their freely, given rights and are confident that their voices will be heard without fear of intimidation or violence. Therefore, elections cannot and should not be conducted in an unsafe environment. For elections to reflect the true will of the people, peace and security are inseparable and indispensable. They provide the very foundation upon which free and fair elections can thrive, ensuring that the electoral process is transparent, inclusive, safe, and credible. So when our elections are peaceful, they strengthen our democracy. But when they are consumed by violence, they threaten the very fabric of our national unity and the legitimacy of democracy. And as you can see, everywhere in the world today, there is a struggle for peaceful and secure elections. This is because vulture capitalism, transnational migration, identity politics, and the political economy of conflict seem to escalate violent disruptions that tarnish the democratic process. For example, look at the United States. Despite its long history, hundreds of years of democracy, in 2020, the presidential election saw an unprecedented attack on the Capitol building, where about 5 people were killed. And this is America, where everywhere in the world we want to copy. In fact, just a few months ago, on July 13, during the rally in Pennsylvania, Donald Trump was shot by a 20-year-old boy. 20 years. In America, they describe him as 20-year-old man. In Nigeria, we say 20-year-old boy. Shot a presidential candidate in the head. Donald Trump was simply lucky. Otherwise, he would have been killed. In Kenya, the 2022 elections in Kenya were held as a success, but it was against the backdrop of the 2007 general election, where an estimated 1,500 people were killed and 300,000 were displaced. However, the 2022 general elections were not marred by any violence in Kenya because of the intense fear and speculations of violence. If you look at countries like Russia and Uganda, elections have often been marked by suppression, violence, and manipulation, reminding us that the struggle for peaceful elections is not only limited to any region or even any country, talk less of just Nigeria. And is often coupled with authoritarianism, voter suppression, suppression of the opposition parties, which has led to the erosion of democratic values. But on the flip side, there's also hope. Because if you look at countries such as Singapore, Rwanda, Switzerland, they seem to have made remarkable strides in fostering peaceful elections and democratic transitions of power in their countries. And the reasons are not far-fetched. There is widespread citizens' education and electoral enlightenment. They have very strong institutions of accountability that end the culture of impunity. There's civil society intervention, and there's also elite consensus on what is right for their countries. And I think this is where Nigeria also needs to imitate some of these progresses that are made in other countries. In Nigeria, we have had our own fair share of electoral violence, and I don't want to repeat that history here. But one of the worst incidences of electoral violence was during the 2011 general elections. If you look at United States Institute of Peace, describe the 2011 elections as best run but most violent. How can election be the best run and yet the most violent? It claimed 800 lives in 3 days in 2011. 3 days, 800 Nigerians were wasted just like that because some people want to get to power. So the violence witnessed during elections have often undermined the legitimacy of outcomes and deterred citizen participation, resulting in low voter turnout. Look at the 2023 presidential elections. Barely 29% of voter turnout. In a country that has over 200 million people, only 8 million produced a president. Only 8 out of 200 million people. People didn't want to come out because they are afraid for their lives. And that is why we must end the culture of violence and stop this violence so that people can come and express, freely their own right. So yet we have seen moments of progress, as we have seen in 2015, 2019, 2023 general elections, where violence was not as widespread as it was predicted, by a lot of analysts. In Edo State, over the years, elections in Edo State have also been marred by various forms of insecurity and violence. According to reports from the Nigeria Civil Situation Room, Edo State elections have witnessed political thuggery, ballot box snatching, intimidation of voters, and violent clashes between supporters of different political parties. If you look at the elections in 2020 in Edo State, Yaga Africa's pre-assessment election report showed the incidents of violence were prevalent in 13 out of 18 local governments in Edo State in 2020. That means only 5 local governments were likely to have peaceful elections. 13 out of 18. That is not good. If you look at the pre-election security risk assessment report by Kimpak Development Initiative, there are 46 cases of non-electoral violence that have occurred in Edo here between January and July this year, and 19 incidences of electoral violence within the same period. So as you see, look at the report, as we head towards the elections, there's increase in the level of violence. So the actors in this violence range from local political elites to hired mercenaries who are willing to use force to intimidate opponents and voters. And these acts of violence not only damage the credibility of the electoral process, but it also erodes public trust in democracy and in our leaders. Furthermore, the involvement of non-state actors, such as cultic groups and political talks, has exacerbated the situation, turning elections into battlegrounds rather than peaceful expression of democratic choice and a moment for people to celebrate. So in this election here in Edo State and Nigeria generally, there is a need for peace and security. So as we look forward to the upcoming 2024 off-cycle elections in Edo State, there is need for peace and security. For me, the biggest threat to democracy is when after the election, every time, every 4 years we have election, but there is no physical change in the lives of the people. So go to any state capital in this country. Every 4 years we have elections, but as we drive through the town, you don't see any visible change in the lives of the people. But what you see are new posters, new banners, but you hardly see anything looking good on the faces of ordinary citizens. So we want political actors. Please, we are pleading with our politicians. We want them to know how to win and lose with dignity. That there's also dignity in losing an election. Politics should no longer be an ugly war where somebody has to lose his life. We want politics to be based on sound reasoning and transparency. We want to help our country change the rules of engagement for political leaders to please accept defeat when defeat happens and accept the win and be inclusive and credible. And this cannot be done in vacuum. It has to be done by creating a playing field for ideas, because only great ideas can help us imagine the future of our dreams. And now for me is the time for Edo to take a decisive step towards peaceful, secure, credible, and safe elections. In conclusion, as we signed the peace accord on Thursday, the members of the National Peace Committee, Bishop Kuka, Cardinal Onekon, General Abdusalami Abubakar, Femi Otedola, Dangote, General Agwai, and all these people will leave their jobs and their houses to come here because we want to support a peaceful process. So as we gather to sign this peace accord on Thursday, I urge all actors, from candidates, party supporters, traditional rulers, INEC to the electorate, to make a firm commitment to non-violence. Somebody once said, a politician only thinks of the next election, while a stakeholder thinks of the next generation. We are looking for politicians who are equally stakeholders. Thank you very much.
I'm sure we can actually do better than we just did by appreciating Reverend Father Atta Bakindo, representing the National Chairman, Peace Committee. Nothing brings home the issue of insecurity, the issue of peace, except when you go with the numbers. And that's exactly what Reverend Father Bakindo has given to us this morning, sharing those thoughts about previous elections, both in Nigeria and in Edo State, backing it up with statistics, has brought home the issue of security. And we all need to work together to ensure we have a very successful, peaceful, credible, fair election in Edo State. And I dare say that the process of achieving that has started today with this Peace and Security Summit. Please put your hands together for that. Let me quickly acknowledge the presence of Honorable Donald Okogbe, who is the member representing Akoko Edo 2 constituency, Edo State House of Assembly. Please put your hands together for him. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we've come to one of the crescendos of this event, which is the panelist discussion, where we'll be hearing perspectives, opinions, and views from some critical stakeholders on how we should conduct ourselves as far as the Edo State governorship election is concerned, to engender peace, to engender security. And to walk us through that, let's put our hands together for my colleague, the delectable Joyce Chooks. Keep clapping until she gets here.
All right, thank you so much. Now, this moment, we're going to move into the panel discussion. I have a few distinguished guests who will be joining me here for our panel discussion concerning the Peace Summit. Now, I'm going to start off by welcoming Imam Ibrahim Momo, who is the Chief Imam, AAU Central Mosque. Please, let's give him a round of applause, please. Thank you so much. As he comes to join us the panel, please just have a seat. Thank you so much. I'd also like to welcome Sir Humphrey Best, Iriabe KSM JP, the leader, Catholic Charismatic Renewal, Archdiocese of Benin City. Round of applause for him. Welcome, sir. Very happy to have you. I'd also like to welcome the person of Peter Agwebo, who is the Executive Director, Mind Initiative CSO Representative, to join our panel, please. A round of applause for him as he comes to join us, looking very dapper this morning. Thank you so much for making yourself available. Let's also welcome a woman who we have already welcomed earlier, Mrs. Premo Ayaoge, Resident Anti-Corruption Commissioner, ICPC Edo State. Thank you so much for joining us, ma'am. Please have a seat. I'm also going to welcome the representative of His Royal Highness Alhaji W.O. Momodu, JPCON, the Ojira of Iroa Kingdom, who of course is represented by Chief Christopher, the Enake of Iroa Kingdom. Welcome, sir. A round of applause for him as well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Please have a seat. So I will be joining you. Okay, I'm just going to sit here in the middle. I was going to sit on the edge, but this works as well. Good morning. My glasses are falling from my face. I apologize. Let's get into conversation. Good morning and welcome, sirs. Very happy to have you. Good morning, ma'am. Let's jump straight into the reason why we're here. Now, one thing you will hear from anybody involved in an election, they will start off by saying, election is not a fight. Election is not a war. But over time, especially here in Nigeria, it starts to look like elections could be a fight. Whether they're coming from state actors or non-state actors, we have seen several incidences that has made us wonder the nature of elections in Nigeria. Now, I was listening to the statement being delivered just now, and a few things jumped at me. Now, first of all, is the Key Impact report, where it was listed that 46 cases of known electoral violence have already been recorded in Edo State from January up until this moment. And I love the fact that he took us back to the 2011 general elections in Nigeria, where we sadly lost 800 lives in 3 days. And also a very interesting note that he mentioned is bringing up the apparent or alleged assassination attempt at the candidate of the Republican Party, the person of Donald Trump. What that told me is that even in one of the nations that is celebrated as one of the biggest democracies in the world, election violence is not so shocking or so far away from them. So it is very right that we're having this conversation. Now, a lot of people would agree with me that Nigeria is somewhat of a religious society, and so we cannot remove the place of religious organizations. Many of us did social studies when we were younger, and we saw agents of socialization. And one of the major agents was the religious organizations. So I think it is only proper that the first question I will send is to the reps we have here for the religious organizations. Is there a role that your organization can play in securing peace during elections? Anybody can go. Sir, you can go ahead. The microphone.
Thank you very much for inviting us to this all-important event. As Christians, first and foremost, we cannot afford to remain within the confines of the church without showing concern for social reforms. And what is biblically repugnant of any Christian is one that is so complacent and always ready to accept minor adjustments from custodians of state power. So to that extent, the church in a modern world cannot afford to fold its hand akimbo and watch what is going on. First and foremost, as Christians, our leader, the author and finisher of our faith, is the Prince of Peace. And therefore, when you are a Christian, you have to embrace peace. And peace is very, very important. Religion, politics is not a fight, but it has become a fight. What is the reason for? People want to mount the saddle of political powers because of pecuniary reasons, not because they want to have impactful leadership on the people. They are there, from what we have seen over time, to pillage the common patrimony of the people for their own private good as opposed to the common good. I remember George Orwell. He wrote a dystopian or an apocalyptic essay, which he published in 1949, called 1984. George Orwell warned people ahead of time to be wary of government, totalitarian people, totalitarian government, who want to become the custodian of everything. That's exactly what we are seeing today. George Orwell is a man who saw tomorrow, no doubt. And that's what we are seeing playing out in Nigeria. Like you rightly, one of the keynote presenters said, that you traverse the entire country from state to state. You are not going to see anything meaningful that has been done that will affect the lives of the people. They merely scratch the surface. But if you are also in Europe and America, from one country to another, you are going to see the same development impacting on the people. But in Africa, in Nigeria, as you move along, you see the same poverty replicated in every country and also in Nigeria. Therefore, the Christians are out to play their role, not just by preaching the scriptures or quoting the Bible from cover to cover, but to ensure that the people are conscientized, to open their eyes as to who they should vote for, and not just everybody that come to mount the soapbox. Now, the Christian religion, near the Catholic Church, for instance, we have a body of teaching. I want to borrow a leaf from the Catechism of the Catholic Church. It said, by the reason of our baptism, every one of us, we have to seek the kingdom of God by engaging in temporal affairs. In other words, we can be politicians, we can be anything within the secular space. By engaging in temporal affairs, sanitizing it, and ordering everything according to the plan of God. Therefore, we as Christians cannot fold, our religious people cannot fold our hands now anymore, just watching things the way they are going. We must speak, because silence is not the way of speaking. Cardinal Newman, a saint in the Catholic Church, once said, what will make people, everything to continue to go wrong in our society, what will make evil to continue to thrive in our society is for good men and women to say nothing. Yeah. So as religious people, we are no longer going to keep our mouth shut. We must make interventions. Of course, the leaders of these peace talks that we are talking about, you see somebody like Cardinal Naeko, Bishop Kuka. These are Christians. So that's the role we are already playing to ensure that our country is not stolen or taken away by people, by megalomaniacs or people who has an unquenchable penchant to continue to grab people who are not ready to work for the common good, but who are there to work for the great good.
Thank you so much, sir. Much appreciated. I really appreciate that answer. Still on the role of religious leaders, I'm going to address this particular question to our imam in the house. Now, after the 2023 general elections, with the months that followed, the Nigerian judiciary had to cry out. They said they were being overwhelmed by electoral cases, the people who refused to accept whatever outcome the INEC had addressed. Now, is it possible that religious leaders can step in during this space and appeal to some of these people who feel like they have been wronged after these elections to reduce such instances? Is there a role that the religious organizations can play in that regard?
Yes, thank you very much. In a single word, yes. There are immense roles that religious leaders can and do play. They don't just can, but they do play those roles.
Can we cite some, please?
I'll make just broadly, religion or religious leaders is among the most critical mobilization factors in the country. Politics is a game of numbers. And with the level of poor leadership the elected political leaders have provided, people turn to religion. Sometimes they also turn to other primordial sentiments like ethnicity, tribalism, for succor. The kind of command religious leaders have over the electorate, the so-called elected officials don't. So obviously there's a role. The question, therefore, is, are the religious leaders playing the role they ought to play? The challenge really is that there is this deliberate attempt at politicization of religion. You see during campaigns that candidates, particularly the leading candidates, you are seeing them regularly going from one church to the other, one mosque to the other. The goal is not because they are faithfuls. We saw that in the 2023 general elections, for example. You are seeing it even in the Edo State 2024 general elections, gubernatorial elections. You are seeing candidates, particularly the leading ones, junketing from one church to the other, one mosque to the other. It's not out of faith. It is because they know the immense mobilization force that those place of worship can guide. Then you now have those religious leaders at the point where they can make decisive paradigm shift messages, that would, direct, the course of the elections. They themselves are politicized. So religion does, but it is not able to, or the leaders are not essentially able to make these statements. And that is why, the effort has to be there. Let me also say the fact that Nigeria is not, most people make the error, of saying Nigeria is a secular state. Nigeria is not. It's a multi-religious state. There are Christians, there are Muslims, there are other religious adherents. In the country, it's a multi-religious state. Now, the Nigerian anthem has played at the beginning of today's event. Post God front and center. The pledge, which we didn't take anyway, also so help me God. That's how it ends. And then when somebody is elected into office in Nigeria, he has to take an oath of office in line with the religious book that he believes in, whether it is the Bible or it's the Quran, mostly. So I'm saying that essentially religion does play a role. It's just that there's this deliberate attempt at politicization of religion, which we are not able to, free ourselves from.
And that stands as a problem.
Yeah, it does.
All right, thank you so much. Much appreciated. Now I'm going to move on to the Resident Commissioner of the ICPC. Thank you so much for joining us, Mel. We're so happy to have you. Since the elections have been coming, I've been lucky enough to play a pivotal role in the media. Every single weekday, I dialogue with Edolites. I hear their thoughts. Now, Edolites are beyond excited about this election. It was even confirmed that when it comes to PVC collection, we are seeing upwards of 60% collection of PVC, which is showing us that, maybe the problem of voter apathy might be at bay. We're not sure, but it might be at bay. Edolites are very excited. They're going to have themselves a brand new governor. Now, is there a way the ICPC and other agencies can ensure that this election, the one Edolites are excited about, can be based on the principle of fairness, that everybody that is looking to exercise their rights of franchise can wake up that morning, come September 21st, take their shower, pick up their PVC, and they are entirely sure that they are not going to encounter any problems as far as the ICPC has assured them?
Yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity. I greet every one of us present here. The issue of violence or apathy in any election stems from basically desperation. Desperation on the part of the one to be voted and also on the part of the voters. And this is because electioneering in Nigeria has become a very big and booming business. First and foremost, on the part of the candidates, it's an investment, a very lucrative investment. Starting from nomination forms. You wonder why nomination form to a public office that is meant for service should cost as high as 100 million or close to that. A lot of people go as far as selling their properties, all other investments that had been accrued over the years. They sell them, and of course it's expected that since it's an investment, you must recoup your money. That is where the major desperation comes from. Otherwise, there's no reason why a voter will sell his or her conscience, collect 2,000 naira, like one of our popular musicians sang. If you divide that money into 4 years, you are collecting less than 1,000 naira a year. But because of the hunger in the land, and because they feel, okay, after that opportunity, the politician may not come back till another 4 years. And let's just even grab this one.
Take what we can get.
Yes. So those are the factors. And looking at it critically, which of these factors or these actors should share the blame? Both of them are to blame. So it's a cankerworm that has come to stay with us.
Okay.
And we need strong legislations to address these issues. Who are those to legislate against these issues? The same politicians that are indulging in this. So it's an uphill task. On the part of the security agencies, for the ICPC in particular, ours is to ensure drastically reduced essence of vote buying and selling. We will do the best we can to ensure it is tolerated to the barest minimum, and whoever is found wanting, of course, we'll hand over to the security agencies. But in the long term, a lot needs to be done if we must make progress in our political process. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that answer. A round of applause for her, please. Very fantastic. All right, so I'm going to move on to our High Chief, Christopher, the Enake of Irua Kingdom. Now, I'm going to make bold to say that Edo State is one of the states in Nigeria where our monarchs are excellently revered. The word of the king is law. It is taken seriously. There is immense regard and respect attached to that very royal seat. Using the influence that the monarchy has, is it possible to garner support, to build encouragement for Edolites to come out and vote, to increase voter education and voter participation? And if yes, have we been able to achieve that in Irua?
Thank you very much. Indeed, it's a very nice one. Yes, we are doing our best, because long before now, Irua is a very known kingdom in Edo State, where you have the Ojiro of Irua, with, of course, also the Okajisan of Isaland. And it's not a joke. You see, we have a lot of things we are actually working on concerning this election. For the past 3 months, we have been working on this, especially to ensure peace during the election and after the election. And what we'll be doing is this: all the communities, we have chiefs in all the communities in Irua Kingdom. Every first Saturday of the month, normally hold our traditional council of meeting, where the Royal Highness would meet with all the chiefs, especially with issue concerning the kingdom. This election is not excluded, and the peace, security of the election has been the major things we have been discussing. And why this is on, all the chiefs, while we are seated in the meeting, is Royal Highness will always tell us this, that election is not a do or die thing. All the contestants are his children. Irrespective of the party you are, you belong to us. And now that good enough, most of the candidates are choosing from Essence, that is Edo Central. And we believe that they are all our children. That we should come out, cast our vote, and be very happy with. We have done our civic rights. But of course, we have our challenges, like the issue of violence and security. Now you ask yourself, what are the causes of this violence? Do you just stand up and say you want to cause violence? Of course, no. Something induces violence. And what are they? Number one is greed, political greed, power tussle. What I mean by political greed is if you are in power already, when your tenures come to an end, you are supposed to peacefully hand over to the next person. No, because of that greed, they want to stay put. Try every means humanly possible to make sure they are back again to the same system. That is on that. Now, there is one aspect that is also disturbing, because without peace, you cannot have a conducive environment. Now, during the election, the youth or the electorates, they might be peaceful based on our campaign so far. We have been talking to them. I'm very sure they are going to be peaceful. But the issue is this: if you are peaceful, the electorates, they are peaceful during the elections. Now, you don't forget the role of the security and the role of INEC staff. If securities are not in line with that, put in place, something there might not be conducive environment that will lead to a problem. Quite right. The another thing again about the staff, INEC staff, where there is a peaceful election, now you find the INEC staff at the point of collision of results.
I hope there's an INEC staff in the audience listening.
Yes, at the point of collision of the results. and is able to compromise, then how can you find peace when you are sure of what you are going to get, and at the end, just at the time meeting, somebody is trying to do otherwise? It causes a lot of concern, and at that point, you find it difficult to maintain a peace. Meanwhile, there will be peace from the beginning. Then at the end, you are beginning to have an issue. So it is a collective effort. Peace and security is a collective effort for all of us to be involved, from the voters, the authority, INEC, security, all stakeholders to be involved to ensure peace and, valid free election.
Much appreciated.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Please, as usual, a round of applause. Thank you so much, sir. We really appreciate. Now I'm going to move over to Peter Agwebo. Now, you are a CSO representative, so I think this question will be perfectly suited for you. Now, about 2 weeks ago, I was on the radio, and we were speaking about election violence, about peace, and a few Edolites had something very important to mention. Now, somebody called and mentioned a particular polling unit. I won't call the name, it's very popular. And the person said that there is no election they have in that polling unit where the ballot box is not snatched. And then a few other callers called and said, yes, I know that place. It's always like that. From 2 p.m., they will come and collect the ballot box. Everybody laughed, but it was not very funny. Now we are heading to a new election. What are the peace-building activities that CSOs have been able to do till now? We've gotten so close. It's barely days to the election. We can only assume that work is being done. Can you share some light?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. Once again, Peter Agwebo is my name. Peace building is a very serious and integral part in our election. Election is not just an event, but it's a process. So in the process of conducting an election, peace building, creating awareness for non-violent election is actually a very integral part in the electoral process. And over time, civil society groups have put a conscious effort in making sure they actually reduce the incident cases of election-related violence to the barest minimum. You agree with me that in the history of Nigeria election, the electoral violence cases in the 90s was high, and because of so many advocacy, so many intervention by civil society and other well-meaning, election management bodies, as well as other stakeholders, this incident has moved from a very high rate to a low rate. I will use this instance. In Edo State, a few months ago, we've actually recorded so many election-related violence that actually led to the demise of a police officer. That does not say that even in few days in Akoko Edo, we did not record shootings. There was shootings, though no casualty of election-related violence in one of these political parties' campaign. But however, events like this is being put together by civil society organization to also drive home the point whereby we need to, cut down emphasis or encourage political actors who resort into, violent cases or perpetrating violence in election before, during, and after election. The Impact Development Initiative in 2023 actually monitor election petition tribunal cases. The number of petitions that came in 2023 was very alarming. The number was high. And I will tell you that it is still because of the approach, the measures that have been taken to promote peace building. Over time, before now, when political party lose or political party candidates, when they lose election, you see their supporters resorting into violence. But because the message has been, has been clear before now, part of the peace mediation approach of the Impact Development Initiative and other other stakeholders per se, you now see this political party now resorting to a proper channel in addressing their, be it a political loss, as they say, or whatever issues, whether pre-election issues or election matters. the Electoral Act, the reform in the Electoral Act has also, reduced election violence cases in the sense that, now look at the instance you actually made mention. It is obvious that in any polling units, when there is violence, if the ballot box is being tempered or being snatched, there is no how INEC can actually, announce results from that political party, from that polling unit. It has been compromised. So that is why these activities is being put together, having election management bodies and the political actors. Because we believe that political parties are the major actors in our political processes, in our election. Because if they actually conscientize their supporters, there will be less work for the security agency. Don't forget, the Electoral Act does not permit security agency to be armed in the polling units. So it will also be difficult for them to make some strict enforcement. But however, when we believe that, yes, this election is our own, we need to own it. We need to own the process. We need to drive it. I am very, very sure that the violence-related cases as it relates to election will be definitely brought down.
Thank you so much.
So lastly, it is also very pertinent for all civil society groups who have been doing wonderfully well in promoting and sending messages that will actually lead to a peaceful election in Edo State. Edo is our own. We have no other state. Nigeria is our own. We have no other country. So we must be able to consciously drive home the messages of peaceful election. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're going to welcome a few questions from the audience. If there's anybody on the audience that would like to send a question to any members of our panel, we're willing to welcome up to 2 questions. You can just indicate by raising your hand and somebody will bring a microphone to you. Is there anybody who has a question? All right. Can somebody assist me and get a microphone to that gentleman there? I know we also have a lady as well. We have 2 hands up, the lady in purple and the gentleman in Ankara over there towards the left. All right, so let's keep our questions short so we can leave here in good time. Just towards the left there, please have your hands up so the usher can locate you. We have a lady in purple and we have a man in Ankara at the back, yes. So we'll take both of those questions. All right, thank you, sir. Please introduce yourself and let's have your question, please.
My name is Popos Osawonye Iserie. I work for Smiles Africa International Youth Development Initiative. I want to thank the organizer of this program and I want to praise your efforts. So before I ask my question, I want to say for we to have a violence-free election, it depends on INEC. If INEC is free and fair, they want to conduct a free and fair election, and people will have confidence in INEC, the violence will be reduced. But when INEC, we cannot trust INEC. INEC cannot carry result boards from polling units to World Collation Center without tempering it. There is bound to be violence. What violence spots on its own? If you see somebody is infringing on your right, and you see the person they do you crew, even if you be angel, you go talk. Then the question is, thank God we have a religious leader here. Because from what we have been saying, I read from the newspaper that 2 aspirants went to see a PFM. One promised coastal bus and gave them Sienna. The other one promised the other one didn't promise and gave them generator and gave them some money. The person who is supposed to be unbiased, we are condemning the one that gave them Sienna and praising the one that gave them generator. So the question is that what are the religious leaders? Because my friend said there is no difference between the politicians and the religious leader and all the leaders we have in Nigeria because they have one thing in common. Selfishness.
Let's not make such a long statement.
Okay, sorry, sir. Somebody says, so what are religious leaders, are traditional leaders, and what are they doing to promote peace by being impartial
All right, thank you so much for your question. And we'll take the question from the lady as well. We did have our panelists speak on that earlier, but I'll give them a minute or two to re-emphasize their earlier thoughts. Good day, ma'am. So happy to have you. Let's have your question and your name. Yes, okay. You're fine. All right.
Okay. They said channels cannot turn. I should come front.
Just turn around.
Okay. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Doris. What I would like to ask is this. Every 4 years, whether it is general election or this type of election off cycle we have in Edo State, we all talk about electoral violence and the management of this violence. Nigeria have laws and we have security agencies, law enforcement agencies. How long can it take? How long can we wait to begin to see prosecution of these perpetrators of electoral violence? Because I believe that the essence of making laws or legal framework is to control activities, behaviors of every citizen so that we can know how to put things in order to create an enabling environment, safe society where everyone can be treated with dignity and respect. Protection of human rights, which is supposed to be fundamental. Whether you are an electorate or you are a contestant, candidate, we all have that right that need to be protected. It is the obligation of the government to do this. So I am asking this question. How long can these our electoral laws make effects in the lives of the Nigerian citizens by arresting and prosecuting these electoral thugs or violent perpetrators, bring them to book so that others, it will serve as a deterrent to others. Thank you
so much. Much appreciated. We've had two questions thus far. I'm going to pass the microphone down to our religious organization. One of you can take the first question. They're saying, what are you doing to make sure that peace is maintained, especially, and then to make sure that you're neutral and separate from the political candidates and the political parties?
Yes. First and foremost, the candidates, all of them belong to us. They are either in the mosque or in the church. They are our brothers. They are our sisters. They are one and the same people. There's no sermon that is preached in all our churches and mosques every Fridays or Sundays when we don't talk about tolerance, peaceful coexistence. It cut across every sermon, every Sunday. And so when elections in particular is approaching like this, we redouble our effort to ensure that we begin to teach our people to ensure that election is not a do or die matter. And that we should be very civil in whatever we do. The followership, most of them are our followers. They are followers of different political parties. Even the arrowhead leaders, those contesting themselves, they belong to churches. We tell them, look, the main purpose of going to mount the soapbox, if you want to lead, you want to be a governor, is that you want to better the lot of your people by policies you enunciate, by developmental strides you want to bring about to help the people. Therefore, you must be mindful of what you do. Your overall modus vivendi and modus operandi must be animated with gospel values. That's why I said just now, I quoted a statement. I said, by the reason of our baptism, we are baptized, all of us here. And why we are baptized? Our baptism configures us to the personality of Jesus.
So, sir, just to...
Who is the Prince of Peace? So we tell our people, follow peace with all men. If you want to be a governor, make sure you are going there to work for the common good. Make sure that you avoid gutter languages. You must be euphemistic in your statements, in what you do. Don't call names. Don't call people names. Because we are talking about peace. Politics is about talk your own. That's what we say in Benin. I go here campaign. You don't quarrel in campaign. You talk your own, I talk my own. And at the end of the day, we are going to be friends. If two political gladiators are in the same church, we tell them, After election, you come back to become brothers and sisters. So don't allow election to tear you apart. So in our various churches and mosques, we are talking. We are talking to the people.
All right, thank you.
So we are not going to stop talking, but the politicians themselves must ensure that they go into such political space armed with gospel values, armed with the values of the religion which they subscribe to. If they do that, there will be peace everywhere.
Thank you so much. Let's take some time for ourselves. Just a moment. Let's take some time. Let's move on to you, ma'am. The second question did mention that she believes that there's too much time wasted to prosecute electoral offenders. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I think the issue of prosecution in Nigeria does not affect only electoral issues or criminal issues. It's a general phenomenon, and there's actually nothing anybody can do about it. Like I said earlier, the laws are there, and I'm sure every arm of government is limited by its statutes. You know, the laws and acts creating them. This question, more or less, has become a recurring decimal. Wherever we go, especially on election matters, we get this question about what happens. You arrest people, display them with money, and take them to court. Thereafter, we don't hear anything. I said, yes. Our job stops at prosecution. We cannot dictate what the judge should decide. So, an accused is presumed innocent until proven guilty. So it's just like the issue of vote buying and vote selling. It's not an issue for one agency to handle. It has come to stay with us, and I think the laws, the amendment of some of these laws will go a long way in solving this problem. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Our time is fast spent for this segment. I want to thank the members of the panel for making all the time to have this conversation. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. And of course, thank you to the organizers of this event, Impact Development Initiative, the Nigerian Police Force, the Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room, and of course, the UK International Development Partnership. We're so happy that we can put this one together. I want to call on my senior colleague here to take over the conversation. These glasses are going to be the end of me in this event. Thank you so much. Round of applause for all members of our panel, please. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to sit for some pictures. All right. All right, we have to stand for the pictures. All right, no problem.
Thank you very much. Please give them a round of applause. Give them a round of applause. Very, 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 very insightful conversation from our panelists. We're going to the last part of this event, which is a demonstration of words of commitment to peace in this election. And we're going to do that real quick because we're pressed for time. But let me quickly acknowledge the DCC Nigeria Correctional Service. Ogwe Paul is representing the Controller Correctional Service. Thank you for your presence. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have the last part of this ceremony, which of course is the demonstration of commitment to peace in Edo State. I'll be calling everyone that will be making a word of commitment upstage so we can do it as fast as possible. So please, if I call your name, I crave your indulgence to please come forward. We need to also establish the fact that the organizers of this event did not invite any candidate in the Edo State governorship election for this event. We need to clarify that. The people invited are basically the senatorial representatives at the Senate and at the House of Representatives and even at the State House of Assembly. We need to make that correction quickly. We need to make that correction quickly. But just before we take these words of commitment, let me invite the representative of the Edo State Commissioner of Police, ACP James Chew, for a very short remark in just about 2 minutes. Please put your hands together for him.
Thank you very much for having me once more. We have all listened to all that we have said here. And it's all tilted towards the issue of peace. And the only panacea to that is for us to appeal to all actors that are going to be involved in the forthcoming elections to eschew all forms of social impropriety. If we stay away from activities, if we stay away from actions, if we guide our followership, if we guide our words, guide our membership from any form of violent activities, from using them as tools of disruption, from using them as instruments of violence, we are not going to be sitting here to be talking about all of this that we're talking about. It is not the issue of our legislation. It's not the issue of laws. It's not the issue of codes. All we need is to guide ourselves from that path that will create atmospheres that will lead to interventions from any quarter. So my one word before I leave is that we must all toe the line of peace.
Thank you.
Like I said before, law enforcement agencies, we're all collaborated. We are hands in glove to ensure that the process is peaceful. But we need our actors to also join us and be on the level side. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for ACP James Chew. Now, we are going straight to that segment, which of course will be calling everyone involved upstage. I'd like to invite upstage the representative of Senator Adams Aliyu Shomole, Right Honorable Samson Osage. Please put your hands together for him. I also like to call upstage the representative of Senator Monday Okpebolo. Please come upstage. I'd like to invite upstage Honorable Jared Tenebe, the APC chairman. I also like to invite upstage Honorable Donald Okogbo. Honorable Donald Okogbo. We will need to stand for this segment that we're having, so please just come up stage. Let me also invite quickly Comrade Annie Umoro, Initiative for Gender Equality. Please come up stage. I also want to invite a representative of NSCDC, Edo State Command. Please come up stage. I'd like to welcome up stage the Chief of MAM of Central Mosque, Alhaji Abdul Fattah Ibn Abulele. Please come up stage. I'd like to invite the representative of PFN, Reverend Phil Aroji. Please come up stage. If we have a representative of the Youth Council of Nigeria here, please come up stage. Please come up stage. Please come up stage. Well, the chair will not go around, so I'll crave your indulgence, so please rise to your feet. Just rise to your feet, everyone. Let's stand up to our feet and face the audience as we take turns to make a demonstration to peace in the Edo State governorship election. One at a time, we'll just have these words of commitment from each one of you in 1 minute, because we're pressed for time. We're pressed for time. So let me begin from where now? From the NSCDC man, because of your position. Thank you. Give them a round of applause, please.
Good morning, all. I want to sincerely thank the organizers of this program on behalf of my state commandant, Commandant Agbum Benga Joseph, who is unavoidably absent. He's in the national headquarters now. preparing for these processes too. We are fine-tuning. We are an assisting agency when it comes to election. We collaborate with the police to do the needful. I want to assure you that at least all strategies are already in place to ensure that the election is going to take place free and fair as we work hard to achieve that.
Thank you. Thank you. Please pass the mic to Comrade Anil Moro. Comrade.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Annie, as you all know, and as a representative of the civil society groups in Edo State, I'd like to tell you that as the watchdog of the society, we have been on this to make sure that we'll have a free, fair, credible, and a peaceful election in Edo State. My colleagues and I were not resting. We've been having series of engagements, and we can assure you, by the grace of God, with all hands being on deck, Edo will have a peaceful, credible, and a fair election. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's put our hands together for them. Yes, Honorable Kogbo.
My name is Donald Okogbe, member representing Akoko Edo constituency 2. I'd like to say that from the political actors and from my party persuasion, I'd like to assure this gathering that we'll do everything possible to work towards peace. The good thing about election is that it's every 4 years, we come back, we contest, and for one reason or the other, we may have reasons. We have seen people, somebody was telling me that it's like a season. You see people moving from one party to the other. At the end of the day, one thing that is constant is that we are all Edo people. Whether you are in party A, B, or C, there's a common denominator. We are all Edo people, and we must all work towards peace.
Thank you.
Without peace, there can't be development.
Thank you.
We are in politics to bring growth. We must work towards peace. Thank you.
Thank you. Give him a round of applause.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Samson Osagi. I represent Senator Adams Oshomole, former governor of Edo State, and the leader of the All Progressive Congress in Edo State. I think one thing that we have not spoken about this morning is consequences for those who perpetrate violence. In Edo State, I can see the graph that has been demonstrated here. Violence is rising ahead of the elections. What are the consequences? And I think the security agencies must rise up, and that is the only way. Those who perpetrate violence, as we are beginning to see in Edo State, particularly non-state actors, they must be brought to book. The laws are already there, and we can't complain about dearth of legislations against political violence. Our party is committed to ensuring a free, fair, and credible elections devoid of violence ahead of 2024 general elections. Thank you.
Put your hands together for him.
Thank you very much. I'm Right Honorable Barrister Paul Ohombamu, representing Senator Mondo Peolo. Starting with him, he asked me to reassure you that he is very unskilled in licentiousness for evil. You can see that all along he has been the victim. At the airport, his security detail was killed. On 3 occasions, he has been attacked during the campaigns. But I think the real thing we must talk about is the gross and net effects of partisan violence. When my brother spoke, he talked of the legitimacy of the entire process. Beyond that, we must realize that partisan violence is most often a precursor of democratic breakdown. We have seen a lot in history. The white shirt in Italy, brown shirt in Germany, the leftist guerrilla in Uruguay, the left and right paramilitary group in early 1960 Brazil. Of course, our person here referred to 2011 when violence took its toll. But the real thing, politicians must realize that there are 2 ruling parties, ruling classes in Nigeria and indeed African countries. Political class and the military. So it is erroneous when a PDP person sees APC as the opponent. It is really the military. You must know that the military has its own perception of breakdown of law and order. For the military, serious upheaval, serious riots, demonstration is a breakdown of law and order. But rather than seek the restoration of that order within the same democratic framework, they see a military coup as the most convenient alternative. And don't forget, Nigerians are not in position to say they desire military rule or not, but the euphoria that greets every martial music is considered as its acceptance. So we have to be careful. We really have to be careful.
Thank you.
Why will somebody make violence the primary language, the primary tool of interaction in politics? You attack someone, and why do you attack? You are lacking in self-esteem, or you feel that you have lost the election outrightly. Like Modo Kwewolo being attacked, really reenact what Robert Greene said in his third book, The 33 Strategies of War, where he said that the moment of victory is often the moment of greatest peril.
All right, Honorable, I need to pack you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I am the Jared Tenebe, chairman of APC, representing APC as a party. Well, there cannot be peace without justice. Everything we are doing here, saying here about peace, we cannot achieve it if there is no justice. And thank God the police is represented here. Just what he mentioned now, recently there was an attack on the security guard of our candidate. A police officer was killed. And to date, there is no justice for that innocent police officer that was killed. And the people that killed that police officer, we did a petition to the police. Up to date, those people are moving freely. And none of them has been apprehended up till now. And we are talking about peace here. Then we have a security network, ESS and POO, that are carrying arms all over the place. We saw how they attacked us in Akoko Edo. They attacked our party in Esako Central, and they attacked us in Esako West. And nothing is done. There is no justice. And if there is no justice, there cannot be peace.
Thank you.
And I think it will be difficult for us to even go and put our hands in signing the peace accord on the 12th. If no steps are put forward, at least to apprehend those people, because we know that those people are staying in the government house up till now. So if there are no steps taken to apprehend those people, then we might not be part of that peaceful agreement.
Thank you, Honorable Jared Tenebe. Thank you very much. Thank you. I believe the police, they are doing something in that regard. Perhaps we need to hear them, but not today. Let's hear Abdul Salam, Abdul Fattah and Abule say something, please. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm yours sincerely, Abdul Fattah and Abule, the Chief Imam of Benin. You know, Edo State is one of the most peaceful states in Nigeria. And I believe absolutely that this election will be very peaceful. Edo people are ready. We are ready. Nobody can intimidate us by the grace of God. We will come out in unison to vote on the candidate we believe has the ability and capability to provide the necessary development of democracy for every one of us.
Thank you.
We will defend our votes by the grace of God. We stand and defend our vote.
Thank you.
No intimidation. We are not afraid of anybody by the grace of God.
Let's give him a round of applause.
Let us not be afraid at all. And secondly, I want to appeal to INEC. I want to appeal to security agencies. I want to appeal to the political parties, particularly the political parties. This game is not a do-or-die affair. It's not a do-or-die affair. You are there to serve the people. It is because people are not serving us well. That is why we have problem in this country. Imagine, for example, since 1999, where government come and go have been battling with only one road, Benin Ekpoma Auchi Road, that has not been completed. It's not because the politicians have failed us. So please, we are begging all of them.
All right, thank you.
Please,
thank you, sir. Thank you.
God bless us.
Thank you. Put your hands together for him.
Thank you very much. My name is Reverend Phil Aroje. I the Director of Youth, Women and Education in Cannes. I'm also the youth leader of PFN and the Secretary-elect of PFN Edo State. I am here representing the PFN Chairman, EMY Margaret Agbonifo. For us as believers, a tenet of faith, one of it is peace. In Psalms 34 verse 14, it says, turn away from evil, seek peace and pursue it. The Bible says, follow all men with peace and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord. As it concerns the election, the church will go on the path of peace, and we trust God that everyone will follow the path of peace. But let me use this opportunity to put it on record, and I can be quoted. As a very active member of PFN and CAN, there was no time in PFN that anybody promised us a coastal bus and gave us a Sienna. I'm putting it on record, and I should be quoted. It never happened. Fake news from people, especially the new media, is part of the thing that can truncate peace. Nobody, no candidate visited PFN, promised us a coastal bus, and gave us a Sienna. Please quote me that I said so. Go and verify your information before you mention that. God bless you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please give them a big hand. Give them a big hand. Okay, now we'll just move forward a little bit so we can have the group photograph. Just move forward a little bit. All right, give them a big hand as they go back to their seats. And I'll be calling the Executive Director of African Network for Environment and Economic Justice, Reverend David Ogolo, to give the closing remarks and vote of thanks. Let's give Reverend David Ogolo a big hand. Keep clapping until he gets here.
Yeah. My name is David Ogolo, the Executive Director of African Network for Environment and Economic Justice. Ladies and gentlemen, it is, as we come to the close of this wonderful event, it is my honor to give the vote of thanks. I want to specially thank everybody that has made this event to be a success. I also want to specially thank the panelists who have also provided an insight why we all need peace for this election. I also want to specially thank the organizers, KDI, the Nigerian Police, the Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room, for putting this together. Like we have also heard from everybody, we all need peace to have a successful election. We also want to thank all the participants who have come from different places to make this event a success. Without you, we wouldn't have achieved this. And in all, we also want to thank the organizers who have also made it possible for us to come together. Without them, we won't be here. Ultimately, we all need peace to have a peaceful election. Like one of the participants rightly noted, without peace, we can't have election. And the election is a means to an end. It's not an end himself. We want to thank everybody who has also made it possible for us to put our heads together to have this event to be a success. As we all return back home, I want to thank and commit your returning back home into the hands of God. And that as we return back home, God will richly bless you all. May God bless the organizers, bless the Nigerian Police, bless KDI, and especially we want to thank the sponsor, SCDO. Without them, we wouldn't have been able to come together. And that on behalf of the organizers, we especially thank the SCDO, which is the UK government, the taxpayer, the UK taxpayer, who has made this possible. And that as they return back home, may the Lord be with you all. God bless. Thank you.
Let's give Reverend David Ogolo a big hand. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the Edo State Peace and Security Summit, courtesy of Kimpact Development Initiative, Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room, the Nigerian Police Force, UK Development International, and everyone that has made this event a huge success. Thank you very much. I'm Sonny Duke Okosun, and of course,
I am Joyce Chooks. Good afternoon.
Bye for now.
This is Channels Television. You've been watching our live coverage of the Edo State Peace and Security Summit ahead of the state's governorship election. Please stay with us as we continue with our other programming for the day.
You've been watching a live Channels Television event.